Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the one and only Fox and Burger podcast. I'm your co-host, Fox.
And I am Burger.
Today, we're very much happy to bring you Sherbert from Sherbert Shenanigans. Sherbert has been in the furry fandom since 2016. In 2019, he was the guest of honor for Alamo City Furry Invasion in San Antonio. In addition to running a furry YouTube channel, he is also in the process of getting his own anime. His work has brought him to Japan more than 20 times in the last several years. He's actually our first Western guest, but due to his experience, we thought he would be a great guest to help us give us a closer look at the Japanese furry fandom. We're very much excited to have him on the show, so let's give him a big round of applause.
Hi, everyone. Sherbert. Thank you for having me on the podcast.
Yeah, it's great to have you here on the podcast.
Absolutely. Nice to hear from you again.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah. Once again for the first time. No, just kidding.
So, just to introduce things, can you tell us a bit more about how you became a furry?
So, originally I was in the fandom way back in the 90s for a couple of years while I was in college, and I left for about 20 years. Yeah, no. I left for about 20 years to focus on my career and in animation and all that. And in 2016, my family moved somewhere away, like kind of the Seattle area, and we didn't know anybody. And I realized that the only people I had to rely on were some friends that I had from my fandom days back in the 90s who were still friends. And so I decided to reach out to, the fandom, the people in the fandom in the Seattle area. And so that sort of brought me back into the fandom. And it was kind of around that time that I started looking into getting a fursuit and wound up with Sherbert. And then, the magic and all that.
All right. And can you tell us more about Sherbert?
Sherbert is an interesting character. Sherbert was created by K-Line. The design was created by K-Line as part of their showcase series. And when I first got Sherbert, when I first saw the design for Sherbert, I had all these ideas running through my head because I have sort of a content creation and animation background. And so everything I see is through that lens. It's through a lens of like, what would a show be like with this character? What would... Like, if he were animated, what would he do? What's his backstory? It's also an acting background. You need to understand your character's personality. So when all these ideas for Sherbert were running through my head, I had this idea that he was basically from another version of Earth called Lilatia. On Lilatia, there's a race of creatures that are a mix of three animals, and Sherbert is a mix of rabbit, deer, and dragon.
Interesting combination.
Yeah, no, I realized, did I just, I almost hit the Chinese Zodiac, didn't I?
Yeah.
That one. Yeah. I mean, yeah, so that was, we'll just have to say ox, right? Close enough. For Sherbert, like, I had that idea that he came to our world and was fascinated with people and all that, and so he was trying to learn the culture and the language. And that's sort of how it started, and it kind of snowballed from there, where once I got the suit, Sherbert debuted at MFF 2016, and then I started making videos, and the whole idea was sort of, Sherbert experiences different things in this world that he doesn't understand. So he's kind of overzealous, but a little, fairly naive.
But
just ultimately clarify, innocent.
So you got the suit in 2016, is that right?
Yes. He's old. I mean, he's still the suit still held up pretty well. I mean, we're going on 5 years now, and he's doing like action stunts in Tokyo. So
sorry to interject, but how many times has he been like across the Pacific then?
Let's see.
More times than you can count?
Well, no. Well, I mean, the thing is, what's interesting is I was supposed to be at JMoF in 2018. I missed the con by 3 days because of a technicality on getting the tickets.
Oh, so that's why I didn't see you. I think you might have mentioned that.
Yeah, no, I wasn't there, so I went to ChemoKit instead. But there was really no opportunity to suit up as Sherbert there, so I actually went to K-Line arranged to have a photo shoot at one of these cosplay studios they have in Tokyo called Booty Studio.
Booty?
Very appropriately named for Sherbert, I guess, but so we filmed at Booty. And they have all these different rooms that are themed. They have a sci-fi room. They have a girl's bedroom. They have a dungeon. Very varied.
Wow.
But it was really cool. Like, we got a lot of great photos, and we spent a good couple of hours there just running up and down the stairs trying to film. We filmed. Well, we didn't really film because they don't allow video except in this one room that's just all gray. It has an electrical panel in it. So we filmed part of the music video for the YouTube channel in there, and then everything else is just sort of like a photo shoot, which I compiled into sort of a slideshow. And that was my 5K special. But in 2019, I was at JMoF, and then in October, I was at TIFFCon for business, and I brought Sherbert with me because I was going to go to Infernity. So...
Yep.
And I just remember the storm. I don't remember if it was actually a typhoon or not. It was just really bad weather. And we were sitting in the plane for 3 hours on the tarmac.
Right.
And the rain was actually like hitting us sideways. That's how strong the wind was. So we actually had to sit there in the plane for 3 hours and wait for the rain to subside.
God, that's like that meme. It's like, I'm going to die.
You mean the I'm in danger?
Yeah, that one.
And I remember like you were texting me during that time, I think, saying, "Hey, room ground or whatever," because I'm already at the hotel, right, for Infernity, and I know Garnet Wolf asked me to help take care of you. So then I'm worried as well because I'm on my phone, I'm reading these Telegram messages from you because like I know where all my other friends are. Like obviously I want to enjoy the con, but obviously I need to make sure I take care of our foreign guests. So I'm like, man, I hope this guy will be okay. I actually do want to save the con discussions for a little bit later. I actually kind of want to go back to the Sherbert anime, though, because I really have not met anyone who has turned, like, their furry character, their persona, into an anime. So, like, what is the Sherbert anime, and, like, how did it start?
The Sherbert anime is a multiverse magical girl series.
Wow.
Since Sherbert has the ability to jump between parallel dimensions, and that's how he came to our world. He basically we turned it so originally the anime was a lot darker. We were pitching to Netflix originally, and it was basically Digimon with murder. And I don't mean dead bodies, I mean dismembered bodies. I mean guts everywhere, half-eaten bodies, that sort of thing.
Whose idea was that? Was that your idea?
Yeah, no, originally it was supposed to be a kid's show gone horribly wrong. I mean, that was the original idea. It was sort of it was sort of a detective horror kind of show where Sherbert was fighting the villains, which were still in the new version of the series. They're called the Kuga, which is sort of a pun. They're foodies. They would, in the original version, they were eating all the little creatures, and that's why they're named after desserts. You got Sherbert and his older brother Gelato, and we had all these different dessert themed characters, and these guys were eating them, and then they accidentally came with Sherbert to Tokyo and discovered they discovered how delicious humans were. So the idea was sort of the foreigner comes to Japan and tries sushi for the first time and wants to bring it to all his friends. That's what they were going to do, but with the entire human population.
Interesting.
Yeah, so
that's a very big turn.
Right. Well, the thing is that originally they had the ability to basically take the form of the last living thing they ate.
Oh, so it's like bug snacks.
Well, more like not where you eat a strawberry and your hand becomes a strawberry. Like you eat someone and then you take their form for a period of time.
Oh.
You can't tell who's evil and who's normal. And so it was it's like just like a huge cat and mouse game in the original version. And there's just some crazy things. I was going to make the whole Nina and Alexander thing like a walk in the park. like the whole Nina and Alexander Chimera thing from Full Metal Alchemist was going to be like a Seinfeld episode compared to what I was doing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no, I wanted to be like, because you want those moments. You want those moments that people be talking about on the internet for like 12, 15 years. Yep. I mean, we're still seeing memes connect to, all that. Every time you show a picture of Nina and Alexander, people are all crying all over Twitter going, my feels.
I honestly think it's just evidence that Full Metal Alchemist fans only have one joke, but that's just me.
Well, literally, I don't remember anything about Full Metal Alchemist apart from that, so I guess that's true. But I mean, we started pitching it outside of Netflix.
All right.
Which
okay.
I guess it wasn't adult enough for them.
What?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, they don't really give you their necessarily their hard
like guidelines,
not guidelines, but if they pass on something, they don't necessarily tell you what exactly is wrong or why it didn't. So we started finding Japanese partners, and they were like, well, we think this would work for a younger audience because the character's cute, and they have a point. You think about it. If the character is cute, adults won't watch it because they think it's for kids. Kids will watch it and be traumatized for life and have to go to expensive therapy and, So we made it.
That doesn't explain anime like Made in Abyss or like Madoka.
But that's not for kids. I mean, Made in Abyss was, it never billed itself as being for kids that I know. I've never watched it. I've never read the manga, but, everyone talks about it all the time. I mean, you just can't escape all the Nanachi avatars. Madoka was sort of the inspiration for the original version of Sherbert.
I was going to say, I saw that anime. I haven't seen, like, the movies, but that's a pretty good one. Short and sweet.
Yeah, but when you're doing anime for kids, you have to, in order to get, like, toy companies and other, kids to really get hooked on it, you need, like, 52 episodes.
Yeah,
so we originally were going to be short and sweet and then hopefully get a pickup for season 2, but now it's just like, kind of like you open your coat at the meeting, like, psst, hey buddy, you want to buy 52 episodes?
So you mentioned the backstory and what Sherbert originally was. So what is the anime now? Like what's your guys' story?
So it's a magical girl show. So it's like Sailor Moon or Pretty Cure, one of those shows. Kind of takes place over multiple versions of Tokyo. So there's all these different variants of Tokyo that come into play. The original story was expanded, and there's like multiple versions of the magical girl, Erica, and multiple versions of Sherbert. And so there's a lot of crazy... It's a lot of comedy, a lot of action. There's some seriousness, but, I don't know how much we get away with now because it's for kids. But Japanese kids get to see some seriously messed up stuff. I mean,
does Tokyo get destroyed and rebuilt just like in that one city in Neon Genesis?
Probably not, but there are different variants of Tokyo, so there could be one where Tokyo is like blown up. I don't know. I might not get away with that one either. But I mean, think about it. The kids in Japan. I mean, do you remember in Pokemon, the Pokemon movie where Ash got turned to stone?
Right.
And then everyone was all crying and stuff. Yeah. Or in Digimon, like the Digimon movie, the second one, technically, where they literally were launching a nuclear missile at the kids.
Right.
And they were freaking out and like that sort of tension, that sort of like, how much can we really get away with? And that's sort of what I'm, how I'm looking at it. But at the same time, we could do a lot more because we could be more fun. And Sherbert sort of, the YouTube channel is family friendly, and Sherbert lends himself to a lot of like fun comedy. And I think that it works as a kid's show. And certainly there's been, there's strong interest for it as a kid's show versus a more mature program.
I mean, when you really look at Sherbert, though, he really, at least to the way I'm understanding him, he's like this cutesy character. So it seems very, suitable to have him in some kind of like kids show.
Well, yeah. Plus, I mean, the anime footage that we made was designed by Zex, which is the studio that did. They worked on some of the Jewel Pet series.
Haven't seen that yet.
Jewel Pet is like an ultra cute, like preschool show with like magical animals and stuff. It's definitely cute. It's definitely in that pocket.
Sure. So going back to the anime though, like where is the progress of the anime now though?
Well, I mean, we're still hammering out the details, trying to get it done for a 2023 release. We have some deals in place, but not all of them. And so with COVID, it's difficult because, you know, the management team and myself are not based in Japan, but the studio, the writers, the broadcasters, everybody else is in Japan. So face to face, you know, once we can resume face to face, we can get back out there and work.
Yeah, and that's really been your goal, right? To go back to Japan to really like be based there and work there, right?
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, I've been trying to make that move.
You heard it first here, folks. Hashtag 2023 Sherbert Anime Grand
Let's
Premiere.
go. Yes, that's right. Right after it'll premiere right after Beastars season 27.
Hey, I'm watching season 2 right now.
I have yet to watch season 2.
I saw season 1 and that was it. But I mean, I've been, I enjoyed BNA. I don't know if you've seen BNA.
I did. Yeah.
They stole my persona design.
Oh, did they?
Mm-hmm.
Look at my fucking avatar. Look at my avatar. Look at Shiro. They stole my persona. No, it's a joke.
I could change your mind. I could show you some bootleg poster art I found on Amazon for BNA. It was just god awful.
Oh, really?
It was so...
Oh, yeah, send it to me later.
It was so off model. It was a horrifying thing. I don't know. Sorry.
I'm mad that they didn't get me to voice Shiro. Because, one, again, that's my fucking
What
persona.
the hell? Look at Shiro.
Oh, wow. Mei Tian. Mei Tian, so a Chinese company, most likely.
Yeah.
Though, of course, like, is there anything else you wanted to wrap up on the anime Sherbert before moving to JMoF?
Stay tuned. Stay tuned. It's going to be amazing and magical.
Absolutely. Because I always see the like the intro for your videos, like that anime intro, and like Sherbert's got the hammer and he's whacking something, and it's got like the cool like rocks soundtrack to it. So I'm like, man, dude, this actually looks good.
Yeah, it's interesting. That's how it actually started.
Mm-hmm.
So, I work in animation, and I have experience with Japanese studios. I wanted to do I had an opportunity to do something unique with my channel, and pair the two for YouTube, and then anime. I teamed up with Zex, and they originally did 5. Well, actually, it was going to be 5, but it's 4 intros and then a 20-second outro with little like chibi Sherbert. When we were working on that, I was like, God, how am I going to recoup this? Like, I'm not going to recoup my investment by making $15 a month on YouTube in ad revenue, if that. And so, like, I'm like, maybe I can make this an anime series. And so I started working on some things, and I asked the studio to try putting together a 24-second, like putting all the footage together and making it into sort of a PV, which is, Japanese lingo for promotional movie. Or promotional video, sorry. And they put it together in animatic form, which is, timing the storyboards and video to the music. And it looked really good. And we're like, yeah, we could probably pitch this as a series. And that's kind of how that got started. So kind of got a dual use out of the anime footage. It's on my YouTube channel. It sandwiches all the content and helps brand the channel. And
right.
Also is the centerpiece of the anime pitch that we were making.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll say good luck to all of that, man. As Sherbert said, stay tuned, and we'll see how it turns out.
Thank you.
So let's move on to something a little bit different. How about JMoF, the Japanese Meeting of Furries? I hope I got that acronym right.
Yeah.
You did.
Okay. Tell us about the experience of going to a Japanese furry convention.
It's definitely smaller. JMoF is the largest furry convention in Japan, but it's about, last time I went to it, I think it was about 1,300 Hold on a second.
Yeah, I kind of want to look up the numbers for JMoF because they're relatively big for Asian cons.
Well, I remember their numbers in, I think it was either 29, I think it was 2020's numbers, were exactly 1337. Yeah, exactly. That's how I remember the number. But about half of them were international.
That's a lot. I mean, it is true. It does attract a lot of international numbers.
It does.
People, I should say. WikiFur says 2020 is 1,372, but I take your word for it.
They reported 1337. Maybe there were some extras that they didn't count on.
True. I just want to note that Sherbert also knows Japanese, by the way, guys. So he's not one of these, like, I guess what do you guys say, gaijins? He's not one of these gaijins walking to a con. I mean, he actually knows Japanese.
Somewhat. I mean, I
better than mine.
Well, I mean,
I can't use.
I try. I mean, I do most of my content in Japanese, but I also script it. Written Japanese is much easier for me, especially on the colloquial level.
Sure.
Like it's easier to flow a thought onto paper or computer in Japanese. But one of the things I like about Sherbert is I can use colloquial Japanese, and it's much more loose. You get away with a lot more than if you're speaking business, because there's a whole other level of Japanese for business relationships, and depending, if you're talking to a boss or a coworker or a friend,
right?
And it's super complicated. Even the Japanese are like, ugh. But that's what kind of makes it easier and more accessible.
So back to
I know
JMoF,
some of that, but yeah.
I was gonna ask, yeah. So how was your experience like?
I love JMoF. JMoF is like my favorite, one of my favorite conventions. It's smaller, of course, but it feels like it's very vibrant. It's got I like the hotel, and there's a Don Quixote next door.
Right. You do the parade there, right?
Yeah, they do the parade through the Don Quixote, which is kind of like interesting. But the Don Quixote is sort of like a Walmart in a sense, but it's all, Japanese snacks, medicines, drinks, toys, video games. Yeah, it's great. And they always have stuff that's always on sale. And I mean, when you've got a kid like I do, you're going to spend a ton of money. You might as well spend it somewhere that's discounted.
I'm glad that you guys have good experiences there. The only thing I've heard is that Michael waited 4 hours for the one that was here in Taipei.
Shout out to Xiao Di and everyone else when we went there. We went there back in I forgot when, January. It was technically Don Don Donki, but it's like the same brand anyway. But I wanted to say for JMoF though, that location is really interesting. Like you mentioned, you like the hotel because the Don Quixote in that location, like near the hotel, is just like within walking distance, right? So it's like you don't need
it's literally
a car.
next door.
If you want drinks, you grab those drinks, or you want food, you bring it back to the hotel.
Yeah, and it's open till 2 in the morning.
Yeah. Now it is a little bit difficult to get to the hotel itself in the sense that you can't just take a train directly. Once you get off that train station, was it Toyohashi, I think? Then you have to take a cab or someone picks you up. But even then, that's not too difficult to do.
No, I mean, but one of the big issues is that hotel, only has so much room.
Right.
There are no other hotels anywhere near it. So if you wind up in an overflow hotel, you're all the way by the station.
Exactly. That's one of the things that that's one of my biggest complaints, I guess, but about the convention. But then again, that's not really the convention's fault. It's just running out of hotel space. Yeah,
there's always this is the one issue really is and it's the hotels issue, not JMoF's, is that you wind up with the the reservation system when room reservations open up, and it's a nightmare, and it's sold out in 3 minutes. And
exactly. Well, not even 3 minutes, 2 seconds.
Well, no, the worst part is the hotel lets you reserve up to 9 rooms.
What?
Oh, damn, man.
You can select how many rooms you want to reserve, and you can select up to 9. So naturally they're gone so fast, and then you have to get a scalp room for God knows how much. I was fortunate. I think both times I was in the hotel, because there's no way in heck that Sherbert's thighs are going to make it across town.
Yeah, I was lucky too. When I went in 2018, the year that you didn't go, I've only been to JMoF once. That's my only time where I was able to room with the Thai furry, and so I was lucky then. I don't know if I'll be so lucky later, but I do agree that like if you don't get that hotel room, the con hotel room, it's quite a bit of a distance, by walk. Plus, it's in January, man. This is Japan in January. This is like in Celsius, like isn't it like 4 or 5 Celsius? I can't remember.
If that, yeah, no, it's like it's not. It's pretty cold, but that's what fursuits are for, right?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, perfect fursuiting weather.
I don't have one yet. Had another question for you about JMoF then.
Sure.
What did you like the most though? Like what's something? Yeah. Well, what did you like the most?
Well, I mean, this may tie into another question, but
okay.
I really like the way they have the scheduling set up.
Okay. How so?
I love. So what I love the most is that they're really smart about keeping the dealer's den to one day. The dealer's den is only open on Sunday, and what's really great about that is, the people who run the dealer's den and the vendors, they don't have to spend the entire con in the dealer's den. They get to enjoy the convention, and on that Sunday, everyone's saved up their money. Everyone's hungering to go in there. A lot of them sell out of stuff. It's just super busy and all a buzz on one day, and that's really all you need. So because I always feel bad, like Western cons, people are sitting at their tables, literally from opening to close. They're probably pretty exhausted when it's done. They miss most of the con. So in this case, they get to enjoy the con, and then of course there's the dead dog dinner, which is a lot of fun.
The dead dog dinner plus the dead dog party, right?
Yeah, exactly. They're one and the same.
Unlimited drinks and.
Yeah, the buffet.
Yeah.
But just celebrating the closing of the con and celebrating everyone getting together.
Yeah.
At the end, really, people are all like, "Oh, I have PCD, and I'm so sad." You don't feel sad after the dead dog party. Like you're singing and drinking and having a good time, and they're just like, everyone's thanking everyone. You're socializing, and it's a lot of fun. It's a great way to end a con. It's not like the dead dog dances where it's Monday morning 2 a.m. and like everyone's just zombied. But that's what I really enjoy about it. It's just the way they set it up and the atmosphere of it. That you don't feel down about the con being over. You're excited about it. You're excited for the con to end so you can go party with everybody.
When I went to TFF, that's actually the only Western con I've been to. Surprisingly enough, I don't know, and maybe you guys can correct me on this. I don't know if they had that equivalent of a dead dog party. Like, I think that's something that like I see unique to JMoF, but then also I know Thai Tales has their own version. But that dead dog party, like man, those Japanese furs go hard. Like, there's Asian flush everywhere, man, everywhere.
Yeah, it's just funny because. I mean, as far as Western cons go, I mean, closing ceremonies is kind of... Because the Dead Dog Party is essentially closing ceremonies.
Yeah.
But with a party. Mm-hmm. Closing ceremonies at Western cons are pretty ceremonial. There's some shenanigans that go on. But just like getting, 300, 400 people together in a big banquet hall and feeding them and giving them, unlimited drinks and just cheering, and I it's funny, like I remember in 2019 the theme was the dog father, and someone had basically created a backpack car horn. It was a series of really loud horns that they pressed the button and it would go dee 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 dee. And they were just running around the party, just blowing that thing, and it was really hilarious. Like they went all out. But that kind of like community kind of gets you excited. It makes you happy about being there at the end. And they feed you. I mean, they you pay for it, but they feed you. So,
I think you touched upon something that sense of community. You touched upon something that I think would be a good segue into a question I'm about to ask. But I remember again for 2018, that's my experience. Like you always have like a lot of we mentioned that you always have like a lot of foreigners going to JMoF. And what I like about the Dead Dog Party is that like despite the language barrier, because not everyone's going to be able to speak Japanese or English, it's like that sense of coming together, and we're bonding over food, we're bonding over alcohol, things that we're all humans and we all enjoy. And so you don't really feel, at least the way I felt back in 2018, you don't really feel alienated. And that's something I want to kind of segue into my question. And as for you, like, you know, as a foreigner, as a white person going to JMoF, how did you feel about that? Like, you know, you weren't the majority anymore. You're going to a foreign country. Like, how did the Japanese first treat you and things like that?
I never felt like alienated by it at all.
Mm-hmm.
I maybe it's a rare case. I don't know. But like I'm the one guy that gets on the train and the people don't avoid sitting next to, for some reason.
Really? Oh wow.
Yeah, no, I'm always like seated next to people, even though I would rather have an open spot. So it's interesting for me. And Sherbert is pretty. I want to say Sherbert is well known in Japan, so I got a lot of like people who were excited to see Sherbert,
mm-hmm.
which really makes me feel welcome there. I mean, I didn't have like much of like I was sort of straddling the two sides. You know, you kind of have the foreigners are all hanging out together, and then the Japanese are hanging out together. But I was being invited to like the Japanese photo shoots and everything, and then like then like dinner. And then there would be there'd be a party, a room party with, Westerners, and I'd go to that. It was really crazy. Like, it was just like, it was all over the map. Like, it started kind of like almost like torn between two worlds. And I felt bad because, a lot of the Westerners, unless they know someone on the, who is a Japanese fur, they don't really intermingle a whole lot. And I think a lot of that has to do with the language barrier.
I think so too. Yeah.
And I think same with Infernity, but a lot more people speak English there. From what I noticed.
I'd agree. Yeah, I think I'd say so.
So I mean, for me, it was kind of interesting because of the, just the language barrier is not as bad for me.
I think if I could interject, that feeling of like being a foreigner but not feeling excluded is kind of how I felt when I went to Fermit or Fur Point. Mostly because there were more English speakers there, but it's like people were not like too shy to talk to me despite maybe having a language barrier. And that's at both conventions. Yeah, I mean, it just felt like going to a regular Western convention, just you were the only person with your own skin color.
That's what fursuits are for.
Yeah.
True.
I mean, I just remember there was a moment like we were invited to a sushi restaurant, and we were. I got into a car. They were driving us there, and one of the Japanese furs who was driving asked us to introduce ourselves, and I gave my introduction, and he almost like crashed the car. He's like, "Oh my God, it's Sherbert!" I'm like, "Dude, drive!" Light post. So this was crazy because I was not expecting such a reaction. I'm not out for any sort of like popularity polls or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to be myself and make people happy. So for me, it was a little bit of a shock to like almost have a car crash just because I'm Sherbert. But the sushi was good, and everyone lived, so I guess it's win-win.
Since I mentioned Fermit and Fur Point, we could start talking about your time at Infernity. So, how did you like going to Infernity?
Getting there was hard. Yeah, getting there was hard. I arrived how many hours late? I remember I was supposed to join the dinner.
3 hours late, right?
Yeah, because I was supposed to go to the dinner with Garnet Wolf, remember?
Yeah,
you guys you were having like a party dinner or something, and I completely missed it. And I was really bummed about that, But I'm also a terrible flyer, so I'm like, I would not have braved that kind of weather just to get there an hour earlier or 2 hours earlier. Really, I have to say that my time there was too short. You know, it was the tail end of working in Tokyo all week, and I was just like, I'm just gonna go and enjoy it. And I'd never been to Taiwan. I'd never been to Taipei. So that was kind of exciting because it's the first time I'd been. No, I take that back. It's the second. Because in 2002 I went to Seoul for a couple of days. I was doing some work over there.
Cool.
Looking at some animation studios that we were working with. But we won't get into that because that's a story that I wish to not repeat. Like I'm just excited for like all the different cons, you know, like Furry Joa and, you know.
Oh yeah, we'd love to go there.
Furum and Tie Tales and all those. But it was really cool. I wound up spending money at the airport on my way out because I'm like, I didn't get to see anything. I didn't. The most I got to see was the subway over on the Lovers Bridge or whatever it is.
Oh,
I got to see
oh yeah.
Yeah, I got to see the subway. That was like literally the farthest I traveled.
I mean, dude, if you want anything, if you want instant noodles, pineapple cake, me and Burger and I guess other furs can send you a care package, man. We can work something out.
Definitely.
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah, if you want to, you can rip my diet in pieces, but I suppose I'm not going to complain.
I do have some Pokemon cards with your name on it in Chinese from Taiwan.
Oh, that's cool. That is, yeah, I appreciate it.
I remember. Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm always like interested to find out like what there is out there that I might be addicted to in the future, in my future travels. Because there's definitely stuff in Japan that I'm like, I have to have it, like Ku. But you guys have Ku, don't you?
I don't know what that is.
It's a fruit drink. They have like apple and orange and.
Oh, I thought it was pronounced Chew.
No, it's Ku.
Okay. There is one thing I'm curious about your opinion on, and something more Japanese. There is apparently a donut like a donut or similar treats, kind of a company called Mr. Donut.
Yeah, Mr. Donut.
I don't like it. It tastes like candy. It doesn't taste like donuts.
I haven't actually. Okay, so like the one thing that I love, like the food and the food collabs. Mr. Donut did like a Pokemon donut once, like a Pikachu donut. I wasn't around for it, but I really wanted it so bad. Like I was willing. But they also make hot dog and hamburger donuts, so you know, where they fill the hole in the center with like hot dog and hamburger meat. That's a thing.
Okay.
Japanese don't just make sweet donuts. Just like crepes, you know, crepes they're not just sweet crepes. Though in Japan, you'd be I think you're much harder pressed to find a non-dessert crepe because crepes are huge over there, but it's always like, you know, whipped cream and chocolate ice cream and then bananas and damn it. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go right now. I will get around the travel restrictions. I will turn myself into a suit and mail myself. And as long as there's someone on the other side with the air pump, I think I'll be all right.
Well, I remember one thing that you did for Infernity was the Infernity skit kind of video that you and I were co-hosting, and so or co-organizing, I should say. You got like I guess I should say we got Zilvin, we got who else from the Garnet Wolf, I think Clover.
We got Dumbo.
Dumbo. Oh yeah, you got Dumbo.
We got Dumbo. We got a lot of the Thai furs.
Alder Kyochi, which we just interviewed like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, Kyochi.
Blaze from America. Ryza.
Macomb
and
the
Tail.
Bluebird thing.
Macomb, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, those are all people who I love to have on the show. So, well, I mean, shout out to Alden Kyochi because we just literally interviewed them a couple weeks ago. But no, I mean, like that was very interesting because like I've never been part of a collaboration like that. Where, to be honest with you, though, I actually didn't go out to. I actually did not have enough time to help you with the filming. But like, I never was able to assemble that kind of like production, I guess. And so I do want to apologize again for that. Like, I'll make the formal apology.
No, it's totally fine. It's just like, God, it was just so. I had one of those bad moments. Like, I brought Sherbert with me. I brought Sherbert and Razu with me, and then discovered I left Sherbert's paws at home. But I didn't realize that until after I was at Infernity and unpacking, and I'm like, where are the paws? So Sherbert didn't really get to make much of an appearance, but we did. I was planning to film the video as Razu, so that worked out.
I owe you like Din Tai Fung because I was trying to say this but I didn't. I remember when you first came, when I first saw you at the hotel because you came late, right? I was like, man, dude, I feel so bad for Sherbert because he missed the dinner on Friday, and you didn't eat anything, and the hotel like nearby the hotel there isn't even there are convenience stores. I think there's like a High Life, but it was closed at that time. It wasn't 24 hours, so you came in. And I'm like, man, I helped you with your stuff. And then, like, you still went on a photo shoot that day. That Friday night. Yeah, with the Korean furs, right?
Yeah, Chivilt. Yeah, but you saw the photos, right? Did you see the photos
I didn't get to see the finished product. Can you send me that later?
I just wanted your reaction, though, because, like, I'll show you right now. I can send
it to you
sure. Real quick.
He's a good photographer, Chivilt. Shout out to that guy.
Amazing. Yeah, I mean, I love this photo. He's my favorite. But then again, you know, there.
Oh yeah, this is good. Chill.
Like, it was just like it was worth it. It was definitely worth it.
Mm-hmm. I did not know
a
that
lot of my
had the
favorite
energy,
photographers
like, after
are
everything. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I had one shot because Natsu was there.
Right.
I was filming with Natsu, and I wanted to do the photo shoot. That was what I was rushing there for, and that's where I was like, I missed the dinner, and then I was almost going to miss this too because, you know, this was the day that we had to do it and everything was scheduled because how tight the con was. Only 2 days, and like I had the filming set up for the 2 days. I mean, literally I got on the con floor maybe 45 minutes in suit. Like I just barely had any time.
This guy comes from like a business meeting from Japan. He flies to, so I don't know if he's still suffering from, I don't know if you were still suffering from jet lag at that time, but then you come to Taiwan, you haven't eaten anything basically. You come late on Friday and you still fursuit, man, and you still do the voice. I was like, I'm impressed.
Well, you know, I mean, sometimes you don't get the break. You know, you don't get to like change your schedule, especially. I mean, Infernity is now 3 days, but you know, when I was there, it was still 2 days. And that, like, compressing everything that I wanted to do into 2 days, it was almost like I didn't get to do everything. And I felt really bad. Like, I watched the parade, and then everybody outside palling around in suit, taking photos and stuff. And I felt horrible. Like, it was a low point for me because I felt like, you know, the Little Mermaid, you know, I want to be where the people are. But I was standing right there, but I felt out of place because I wasn't out there in suit.
Because of the pause thing, right?
Well, not even. Well, I mean, if I had Sherbert's paws, you know, but I was tired from, like, it's just the schedule, the way the schedule was. I was saving my energy for something I think we were filming after that.
Oh, right, the filming.
And I went out there and I watched the parade because I also went to get some food, and I got back and the parade was done, and then everyone was out there, and I just felt really bad. Like, I'm like, you know, out of suit, it's great you can kind of not be noticed, but at the same time, nobody realizes you're there because you're not in suit, and most people don't know what you look like out of suit. If I had gone out there in Razu or Sherbert, you know, it would have been different. People would have noticed, and I would have gotten a lot of photos with people, and because a lot of K-Line suitors were there. You know, Chaba was there, right. And I don't know, was Yumikui there? Possibly. It was, the con was a lot of fun, but I felt like I picked and choose. You know, I was picking and choosing my battles.
Right. As we all do.
And it's like when you have a layover, you know, when you're in some place. You're on a business trip and you have a layover somewhere you really want to go to and visit, but you just don't have enough time to do it. And so you're sitting in the airport or you're sitting in the hotel and you can't really go out there and explore and do all the fun stuff. That was kind of what it felt like, and that was sort of the downer for me, was, you know, getting there late and then having so much on my plate, and I just didn't have enough time or you know, energy to spend. Because remember, right before I got there, I was at a trade show for like a week. You know, I was running around taking business meetings and running across town and going to see like ad agencies and all that. Meanwhile, Sherbert was sitting in the hotel room, you know, waiting to come out and play, so to speak. It was an exhausting trip. It was a rewarding trip, but it's the one thing I regret is that I didn't have more energy to just do all that.
It really sucks that it had to just happen on the tail end of your trip, and there were a lot of things that weren't going your way. I'm a glass half full kind of guy, so if it's any consolation, as you know, Infernity's going on this year. If we don't see you this year, because we just don't know how this year is going to be in October, but if we don't see you this year, I mean, I really hope to see you next year or even the year after that.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to come back. I mean, I do want to say that one of my prized items I picked up when I was departing, because I didn't get to go to any stores really, but at the airport I got a Thunderbolt Fantasy figure, a Peely.
Ooh.
You know, I thought it was really cool watching, you know, the Japanese, because on Crunchyroll in the States you can watch Thunderbolt Fantasy, which is really cool because it's just a blend of like anime music and, you know, Taiwanese like puppet work. So that was a lot of fun. I was excited when I saw that. There's a big statue in the airport of one of the characters, because I didn't know like what I was going to see on my way out, because I didn't get to see enough on my way in. But, you know, I got to the airport plenty early, and there was a lot of cool things in the various shops, and I bought stuff from the Taiwan Museum, and thank God they let me take the bag on the plane, because when I was going there, they charged me something like $220 for my bag because the flights weren't connected. So they treated it as a I don't want to say, like almost like a domestic flight where you're only allowed to carry so much, and they made me move stuff. They weighed the carry-on, and they made me move stuff out of my carry-on into the suitcase, like electronics and camera equipment and stuff. And then the suitcase was too heavy, and they were just not lenient at all about it. Like they reamed me. They're like, "Oh, look, your bag is this heavy." Like, it took us an hour. They took me off to the side. They wouldn't check me in. But going back, I basically, going back, the flights were connected, because I was not going back to stay in Tokyo. I was going to Tokyo on my way back. Right, and so they connected my short flight and my long flight, and the long flight took priority in terms of baggage rules. So I didn't have to pay coming back, at least.
Well,
but I almost didn't make it. Yeah, I almost didn't make it because of that, and then the flight delay, and then so things worked out ultimately.
So, as a parting question, a final parting question, what is your general opinion of the Taiwanese furry community?
Well, I've had kind of really limited exposure to it, but everyone seems really colorful and vibrant, and I love the energy that the Taiwanese furry community has. Just like, it's exciting, like, because I'm in the Infinity chat, and so I'm always seeing all you guys just like, you know, talking about various things, and I just a nice positive energy, especially with like Garnet Wolf and Sylvan and everybody, JC and you.
I think Garnet Wolf is your number one fan.
Oh, is Garnet Wolf my number one fan?
I think well, he came to me personally and said like is it okay you help us out and host Sherbert? I was like, yeah, sure, why not? And then, to be honest with you, this is very embarrassing to say, I didn't know who you were until then. Don't slap me. No, but it was it was awesome to meet you, man. It was awesome to help you out with 2 recording sessions. Well, as much as I could. I wasn't there on those particular days, but then like I said already, you know, would love to see you again in Taiwan.
Yeah, I mean, you made that happen, so I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to say, the next time you're here, you gotta see Jiofin.
Oh yeah, Jofun. The was it the inspiration for Spirited Away?
Yeah, so it's been told.
Right.
I believe it.
Apparently that's debunked. Apparently it's just I think it's like apparently that's like one of the inspirations, but it's not the inspiration.
Yeah,
From what I
but
know.
like heading up the little stairs, alleyways, and the Ame tea house, like I went there
Ame,
personally
oh, yeah.
with some coworkers while we were
Mhm.
still doing job training in Taipei, and like it was fantastic. Our feet were beat the hell up from walking everywhere, especially with those stairs going up and down everywhere. But like, it was still a blast to go there.
Sounds like fun. Next time I'll have more time. Gonna learn from the error of last time, but it depends, like what I'm doing in Japan, because usually Japan is my launching point for anything going on in the rest of Asia.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely, if I can square away some extra time, I would definitely do that.
Well, that's about it for this podcast. Before we wrap things up completely, do you want to plug anything like your social media, anything that you want to tell the audience?
Sure. If you want to see anime content, fursuit content, all the craziness, go to Sherbert Shenanigans on YouTube or Twitch or both. There's an Etsy store that I have. It's also Sherbert Shenanigans. I think it's Sherbert
Dang, you're on
Shenanigans.
Etsy?
Pretty much.
When did that happen?
Yeah. No, I've got a store. Not everything I have is on Etsy. There's quite a colorful display of merchandise on Etsy. Razu has a line of bunderwear. That was designed by Reizi, the Japanese artist. But yeah, I mean, go check it out. We got a new series on YouTube called "What Are You Doing, Sherbert?" where Sherbert tries out different jobs that he saw on Japanese TV. In our first two episodes, we tackled tokusatsu training, how to be like a Power Ranger, and we even put Sherbert in a wire harness. And then he had a big fight at the end with these two villains, and it was pretty wild. And in the second episode, he takes on a sumo wrestler and learns all about sumo wrestling. The episodes are narrated by Kappe Yamaguchi. If you don't know who Kappe Yamaguchi is, you're not watching anime. He is the voice of Inuyasha, L from Death Note, Usopp in One Piece,
Oh, wow.
Red 13 in the Final Fantasy VII remake. He was Tombo in Kiki's Delivery Service. That was his debut. And also Yataro, who was also Speedy in Samurai Pizza Cats. And he's been around. He's super famous. He's also the anime voice of Sherbert. So if you watch that video, you'll see him face off against villains who are voiced by Takaguchi Kosuke. He is the voice of Wolf in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and Star Fox Zero, as well as Muscular in My Hero Academia. So it's an epic battle, and all the videos are narrated by Kappe Yamaguchi. So it's just it's a wild ride.
That
You should definitely
sounds
go check it out.
Yeah, that sounds incredible. Just once again, thank you for taking some time out of your day and joining us for this podcast. This has been the Fox and Burger podcast with your co-host Burger.
And I'm Fox.
And thank you again for listening. We'll see you in the next episode.